navayovanam cha vedeshu durlabhamadursham atma bhakto govindam adi purusham.
Hare Krishna. Good evening, devotees. Welcome to this Bhagavad Gita, Gita Made Easy course. So today we'll be discussing from chapter number 6 entitled Dhyana Yoga. So welcome you all for this wonderful Bhagavad Gita session. So this course is actually made referred from based on the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. You can always refer to Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is for more information presented on these slides. So before going into today's class, let us offer our humble prayers unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna so that he may enlighten us and inspire us in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svabdantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitam Sha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarane Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangun Langete Grim Kripata Mande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madham Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I hope my audio and the presentation is clear for you. If you feel any interruption, please raise your hand so that I will come to know. So today's topic of discussion is very important. Chapter number 6, Dhyana Yoga. It's also called as the art of meditation because Dhyana means meditation. So basically we are trying to focus our mind in a particular thing. And here Bhagavad Gita, it is talking about how to focus our mind on the Paramatma within our heart. That is called Dhyana, Dhyana Yoga. So if you see the synopsis of chapter 6 here, in chapter 5, at the end of chapter 5, the last two verses especially, Krishna discusses a glimpse of 27 verse. He's saying about the astanga-yoga, which we are going to see in detail in chapter 6. And the Lord discusses about the process of astanga-yoga and establishes. Also, the Lord says by the process of astanga-yoga, it's also a very difficult path to take the astanga-yoga. When we discuss in the class, we see the slides, we can also understand how it is very, very difficult. And the whole chapter is more focusing on how to control our mind. The mind is very, very central in this chapter. Krishna talks many slokas regarding the power of the mind and also how to handle this mind properly. Because if you don't handle this mind, it can create so much havoc in our life. Even though we may have all the things at our disposal, but because our mind is not controlled, we may have so much distress in our life. So this Dhyana Yoga mostly focuses on handling the mind. Now, if you see this yoga ladder, we have been quite some time discussing about various yoga topics. We already discussed chapter 3, Karma Yoga, chapter 4, Dhyana Yoga. Now we are going to see Dhyana Yoga. So basically, so many yogas are described by Krishna so far. So how is this process going on? So if you see, it is like a yoga is itself compared like a ladder. We even see that we have seen in the earlier classes. Basically, when we see the first lowermost platform, what is the lowest most platform? You can see the slide. It's basically animal life. What is the animal life? Animals are concerned only with 4 things in their life. So they will just eat, always search for food. They will sleep for their body. Basically, bodily platform, mating for their procreation, and defending. If there is a threat in for their life, they will defend. The animals have claws, they have teeth. Every animal has their own mechanism, bodily ways by which they can defend their body, defend their life if there is a threat. So this is basically animal life, which is the lowermost life. And a human being also, if he is concerned only with these 4 things in his life, just I want to eat nicely, sleep nicely, mate and defend. The scripture says we are almost like animal because we do not know the animal does not know from food from where it is coming. So it is basically kind of animal life is devoid of God consciousness, devoid of connecting to God. That is animal life. And in animal life, we can do sinful activities also because we don't believe in God. So we can naturally do any kind of activities and think that nobody can ask me. We can steal, we can kill, anything. That is karma, sinful activities. And also we can do ugra karma, which is very much destruction to the planet. Like we are doing the pollution, we are doing so many things that is creating the ugra karma. Okay. Once you are crossing this animal life, there is something called karma kanda. Karma kanda means we are trying to do activities, but little more in a God conscious way. Our senses are regulated according to scriptures, where we are doing some rituals. Some way, even though I want to enjoy, still I am doing as per the scripture. That is higher than animal stage. It can lead you to next life, to earth or to higher planets also. Then again after that, we go to the Karma Yoga, which we discussed in 3rd chapter. Karma Yoga means basically you are trying to do some activities, selfless activities, where you don't want the fruits to enjoy, but you are doing for the pleasure of others or for as a means of sacrifice. And Karma Yoga has 2 branches, Sakama Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga. Sakama Karma Yoga means we are doing some activities where 50% we want to give it to God or 40%. 60% I want to enjoy the result, 40% I want to give it to God. Like sometimes people go, something happens good in their life, they put some money in the hundial, and the result they want to enjoy. There is sakama, means little bit kama is there, sakama. Nishkama means I don't want any result, but I will give it to God everything. So that is still higher platform. Within the Karma Yoga, there are 2 branches, sakama and nishkama. Above that is actually Jnana Yoga, which we saw actually the previous 4th chapter, previous 4th chapter, where people were like the spiritual people, they renounce the fruits. They also read so much scriptures about God, and they perform a lot of austerities. By that, Jnana Yoga, they can reach up to the platform of Brahman. Okay. So above this is what is today we are going to see how Krishna gradually is bringing the stage, as like we study 3rd standard, we get to 3rd standard syllabus. Then we go to the 4th standard, still 4th standard syllabus, little more than 3rd standard. Then 6th standard, like that. Krishna basically comes from 2nd chapter, Karma Kanda, then he discusses about Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga, then his 4th chapter discussing about Jnana Yoga. 5th chapter, more practical aspects of Karma Yoga. And today's chapter is about Dhyana Yoga. And Dhyana Yoga also, another name is called as Astanga-yoga. Why it is called as Astanga-yoga? Because it has 8 limbs of yoga. 8 limbs, that there is a separate slide for Astanga-yoga. When you see the slide, you will understand. So here you are adding, as the syllabus is adding, you can see renouncing the fruits, controlling the mind and senses. As I said, Dhyana Yoga mainly focuses on controlling the mind by yoga, by meditation, pranayama, and focusing on the Paramatma within the heart. In our heart, there is soul. Along with the soul, there is also Paramatma. The Supreme Lord is also there. Brahman or Paramatma. So you can see when somebody is performing Dhyana Yoga, they can go to the Brahman or they can realize the Paramatma within the heart. That is the result. The topmost is actually bhakti-yoga. Gradually what happens? 7th chapter onwards, we will start bhakti-yoga. So Krishna exactly goes as per the sequence from karma kanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga. Then he is going to the topmost, that is 7th chapter, bhakti-yoga, which is actually expressing our love to God, which is the highest platform. God becomes a servant for a person who is expressing his unconditional love towards him. That is the position of God. The only weakness God is having is love. The more somebody expresses love, God is ready to become his servant. So that 7th chapter will see Bhakti Yoga, loving devotional service to Supreme Lord. Okay. So you can see here the selfishness, which is called as kama. In Sanskrit, kama means it is not related to sexual desire. Kama means it is basically selfishness. As per Sanskrit terminology, it is selfishness. Gradually, a person is promoted to higher grades by various yoga practices. Final culmination of all this yoga process is actually Bhakti Yoga or love. Love is selfless. So they know lust or kama is selfish. Love is selfless. We also like somebody is selfless with us. We love that person very much. And somebody is very selfish with us. We try to keep some distance. Same thing applies with God also, our relationship with God. The more we try to express our love for God, God becomes so much intimate to us. So all these processes are there. So we are gradually going further into Bhagavad Gita. Today we have come to the platform of Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. So let us see what is Krishna talking about Dhyana or Ashtanga Yoga. So if you see Patanjali Yoga Sutra, they compare our mind. Our mind is compared to a monkey. Because we know mind is very restless. If you see a monkey, the monkey will jump from one branch to another branch. If you watch a monkey for some time, you can see they are not staying in one place. They will jump from one branch to one branch, one tree to another tree. And monkeys are very famous for being very restless. And our mind is also very restless. Even though everything will happen good in our life, we are always in anxiety. Our mind is restless, thinking about so many topics per day. Now, every day, the mind is sometimes thinking positively. Sometimes it is thinking negatively. Sometimes it is very enthusiastic. Sometimes it is very morose, like that. So the Patanjali Yoga Sutra tells the nature of our mind. Our mind is like a monkey, not a normal monkey, a monkey which is intoxicated. Already the monkey is restless. Imagine if the monkey is drunken, is intoxicated. Somebody has given intoxication to monkey. So the monkey will be more restless. And the same monkey is bitten by a scorpion. What happens? Still it will become almost like cranky, It's intoxicated, it is bitten by a scorpion. So that is the position of a mind, human being mind. Sometimes maybe for 1 minute or 5 minutes, our mind may cooperate, but majority of the time we are under the control of our mind. Under the control of the mind. Example, like we can say, somebody is saying that, oh, why you are like this? You don't look, you look very dirty, or you look very this, he says some negative comment about this. The whole day the mind will start contemplating on us because the mind takes over the thought. So basically, if you see a normal human being, he is under the control of mind. Basically, as per the mind dictation, the body will function. But a spiritual person, the person, he controls the mind, or the soul controls the mind, so that he can exercise as much as he wants. Like if you don't want the mind to function like a switch off, if you switch off the light, it will switch off automatically. Like that, you can able to control the mind. That is what the spiritual person is able to handle in the mind. So how we can understand this mind? We can compare our soul to be a user. As soft means, like if you are sitting in front of a computer, you're all sitting in front of computer or mobile. So basically, the body is compared to hardware. So the computer or mobile has two things, hardware and software. And we are sitting in front of the computer or mobile, we are called the user. So there is hardware, there is software, and there is a user. So here, if you compare, our mind is compared to the software, the body is compared to the hardware, and the soul is compared to the user. If the software is corrupted, what happens? The hardware will not function properly, and the user will face a lot of difficulties. Imagine if your computer is having so much virus, you want to do some activity. The moment you open, some other window will open. The moment you close, it will not close. Or the moment you want to do something else comes there. So if the mind is not good, the hardware will not function properly. Our body will not function properly. Because our body is not functioning properly and because of the corrupted software, the user will get depressed or frustrated. So this is why we feel sad in our heart. Sometimes we get depression, sometimes we get enthusiasm. Everything is because of the flickering nature of the mind. Sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad. So very important. Patanjali Yoga Sutra compares our mind to an intoxicated monkey which is bitten by a scorpion. So handling this mind is very, very important in our life. That's why people who fail to handle their mind even go to the extent of severe depression. They go to psychiatrists to seek help. They take medicines. And also sometimes when failed, they also go to the extent of committing suicide. We know we are reading so much news that how people are committing suicide. It is because basically suicide means basically I am not able to handle my mind and I am trying to end my life because I am failed to handle my mind. So very important. This mind is what deciding how our life should be. So this chapter talks about how we can handle our mind. So Dhyana Yoga, chapter 6. So at the end of chapter 5, Krishna briefly mentioned the system of Astanga-yoga. So 5.27-28, Krishna is giving a glimpse of Astanga-yoga, a preview of chapter 6 before ending the chapter 5, where it is explained a strict, regulated, focused regime of an ascetic yogi. Ashtanga yoga, it is not for common people. It is very, very difficult process. You will understand in the slide when Krishna is explaining the process of Ashtanga yoga. Arjuna says it is very difficult. Oh, what process you are saying? Krishna, it is very difficult to follow. In present day, millions of people worldwide practice elements of this path. So there are people all around the world, even in America or London or around the world, there are people who are following Ashtanga yoga. Primarily, it is called as hatha-yoga. You can see if you put hatha-yoga, there are basically some bodily postures in hatha-yoga, whereby you can handle your body healthily and your mind also. And the pranayama also is very, very important element. See, in this process of Ashtanga yoga means 8 limbs. In that, they take few elements like hatha-yoga and pranayama, which offers benefits for body, physical, and also mind, emotional well-being. In this chapter, what we are going to see today, the path of Ashtanga Yoga is explained in its entirety. Complete Ashtanga Yoga is explained. What we are seeing in modern world is some element of Ashtanga Yoga. Essentially, Krishna's purpose in discussing the 8-stage path, that is Ashtanga, Ashta means 8, is simply, why is Krishna is explaining this? Is simply to establish its impracticality for the purpose of self-realization and spirit. Basically, Krishna, after explaining this, he wants to prove to Arjuna that this is not fit for you. It is not for common people, or it is not you for Arjuna itself. He is telling it is not for you because it is very, very difficult to perform in the age surcharged with temptation and distraction. You know, today's world, we have so much of temptation by our social networking websites, sites, apps, and so much distraction also we have. In this path, somebody will perform this Ashtanga Yoga is basically very difficult. And so Krishna will conclude in this chapter after explaining the whole Ashtanga Yoga, is saying the easiest and topmost path of self-realization, how you will realize that you are Atma, it is by Bhakti-yoga. That is the conclusion of this chapter. Still, Krishna will explain detail about the Ashtanga Yoga. So, in the conclusion, Krishna is telling about Bhakti-yoga means the next chapter, 7th chapter, is actually talking about Bhakti-yoga. Same like in 5th chapter end, Krishna is talking about Ashtanga Yoga and he begins with Ashtanga Yoga here. So similarly, 6th chapter end, Krishna will tell of all yogis, one who is performing Bhakti Yogi is the topmost. Other people are at the next ladders, next rungs, they are there. Krishna is not condemning them. Somebody is taking Dhyana Yoga, somebody is taking Jnana Yoga, somebody is taking Karma Yoga. Krishna is not condemning, but he's saying topmost. Who is the topmost of all the yogis? A person who is taking Bhakti Yoga. And then you will start the Bhakti Yoga process, which is from chapter number 7 to 12. The middle section of Bhagavad Gita is actually concentrating on Bhakti Yoga, whereas the first 6 chapters concentrate on Karma Yoga. So here we are going to remember this chapter with an acronym called EC. EC means first section. Let us see what is that EC means. So this is part of a posture of hatha-yoga where people try to bend their body and then they do pranayama, whereby the body becomes very flexible, very healthy. And because they do pranayama, they can control the mind. So it is said in scripture that there are three ways by which you can control the mind from externally. One is by breathing. If you regulate your breathing, your mind can be controlled. One is also you can control your mind by proper diet, food. If you eat very, very sattvic food or prasad, your mind will be controlled. This is from outside. Third is you can control your mind by pranayama, means breathing, regulated breathing. Already I told that. Second is by proper diet or prasadam or sattvic food. Sattvic food also helps in controlling the mind. And the third is by following brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means if you are celibate, then also your mind will be controlled. So these are the ways by which you can control the mind. So here we are going to see the acronym of chapter 6, EC. So first one is E, where it is stressed. E means enemy or friend. Who is our enemy or friend? Our own mind is the enemy or friend. So Krishna is saying, don't search your enemy outside or friend outside. If you are able to handle your mind, control your mind, it will become your friend. If you are not failing to control your mind, your own mind inside you will become your enemy. That is first verses 1 to 9. Second, Krishna, because this chapter is talking about Dhyana yoga, Krishna is going to talk about the process of astanga-yoga from 10 to 36. So that means the majority of the verses are discussing about the process of astanga-yoga. And the third S stands for success or failure. Suppose Arjuna asked the question, that if I am taking the spiritual path, we are always see any path you take, there may be success or failure. If I am taking the spiritual path and I am failed, what will be my result? Arjuna is having that doubt. Everybody has that doubt. Okay, this seems very hard to me. If I fail, what will happen? My material life also is failed, spiritual life also will be failed. So for that question, success or failure, Krishna is answering from 37 to 45. And among all the yogas, whatever we discussed about karma yoga, dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, sakama karma yoga, nishkama karma yoga. We discussed about many yogas, ashtanga yoga. So Krishna is going to conclude this first section of karma yoga, chapter 1 to 6 with who is the topmost yogi. By that conclusion, he will give more detail about the topmost yogi from last two verses as a conclusion of chapter 6. That is yogi. So we should remember this chapter with this acronym called EC. Enemy or friend, Ashtanga Yoga, success or failure, yoga. These are the four subjects discussed or four topics which are discussed in chapter 6. So first we are going to discuss whether enemy or friend. So verses number 1 to 9 is talking about enemy or friend. So here we are seeing 47 verses are there in this chapter. So first 9 verses are discussing about enemy or friend. So while we are in this temporary world, we are always having a voice within our heart, right? We all experienced. In Christianity also they say that there is one angel here, one side of the shoulder and other side of the shoulder, there is one kind of devil. Or they say there are two dogs within our heart. One is a good dog and one is a bad dog. Both dogs are barking. But which dog is more powerful? The dog which you feed more, that dog will become more powerful and the other dog will eventually die. So basically, if you give good thoughts, our mind will become very good. It will become our friend. So that's what he has said. The mind is that voice within. Even if you are doing something wrong, you are having a conscience within that saying that you are doing something wrong, our heart starts beating faster. Essentially, what is this mind we are talking about? It's a storehouse of memories. What is mind? It's a storehouse of memories, experiences that offers options to the individual. Okay, basically, our mind is a bundle of thoughts, memories, storehouse of experiences, fulfilled and unfulfilled desires. This all together is called mind. So as a software. An uncontrolled mind will agitate us, misguide and entangle the soul within this world. So uncontrolled mind, what it will do? It will make our life very, very difficult and it will always keep the soul within this material world. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Manam, the cycle of birth and death, forcing us to succumb to our lower nature of lust, anger and greed. We are always, dictated by these forces when the mind is uncontrolled, like we have lust, we have anger and greed. But on the other hand, go to the controlled mind. When the same mind is controlled, it will become our friend. What it will do? It will act as a friend on our spiritual journey. helping us make progressive and healthy choices. Okay. And what brings us closer to God, which brings us closer to God. When one controls and befriends the mind, one experiences tranquility, peace, freedom from duality, and happiness and distress. So, what is the benefit if we control our mind? We will become closer to God and we will experience tranquility, peace, freedom, and happiness. And we will be more matured. We will not get short tempered. We will not get this lust, anger, and greed. So, this is the benefit of controlling the mind. So, there is a saying that our life is a progressive path from B to D. B to D means from B is called birth and D is called death. So our journey starts from the point B and ends at the point D. Between B and D, what is in the center? The center C is called choice. C. C stands for choice. So every moment of our life, we have choice, whether I should do this one or that one. So how do you choose the choice? Based on if you have a controlled mind, you will choose a spiritual life. And if your mind is basically uncontrolled, you will choose a materialistic way of life just to enjoy your senses. So this C is very, very important. Based on your choice, you also get to destiny. Your destiny is destined by the choices we make. So basically this controlling the mind will help us to take proper choices, select proper choices in our life and live a very, very healthy and happy life. So this sloka is very important. Bhagavad Gita 6.5. Krishna is speaking this verse. Uddharet atmanatmanam natmanam avasyadhyet. Atmaiva hi atmano bandhur. Atmaiva ripur atmanaha. Very beautiful verse. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. So either by mind we can improve our life or by mind we can degrade also. So Krishna is telling one should try to elevate himself, deliver himself with the help of his own mind, but not degrade himself. So the mind is a friend, very important keyword. The mind is a friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So Krishna is saying the mind can act as your friend or it can act as an enemy. Imagine if there is an example, you can see an analogy, like you are given a room in somewhere to stay for a period of 6 months or 1 year, maybe in the somewhere wherever you want to stay, like a college student, he's getting given a room where they are saying that in this friend, your friend is there. He knows that his friend is there. In another room, there is an enemy is there. His enemy, whatever. So the person is given self choice. Which room you want? Obviously, any person, he will select that I want to be with my friend, not with my enemy. So imagine our mind is always with us in the same room, within us. So if we are uncontrolled, our mind is uncontrolled, we are staying with our enemy lifelong. But at the same time, if we are controlling our mind, it becomes our friend. So we can have a very healthy and happy life. So the mind can be either friend or it can become an enemy. So we are all know practically how sometimes we see that people are going, suffering because of the uncontrolled mind. We know that we are seeing day-to-day life. We are seeing so many news. Sometimes even big people, like they are succumbed to lust. Like you can see the presidents of America, the previous president and as well as the current president, they are all facing a lot of charges because of uncontrolled lust. They were in the the biggest country, the powerful country, and the president of the powerful country. They are in such a big position. But because of this lust, uncontrolled lust, their name, fame, power, everything is, became to dust within a fraction of a second because of all the allegations. Because it is because of the uncontrolled anartha within our heart, which is called as lust or kama. So we know from our this one, somebody is taking bribery. We know it is not good. But people who are educated, they are taking bribe. That is because of greediness. And their life, sometimes they end up in jail. After, there may be a big minister post. But when the court case comes and they are proved, they were minister for some time, but they are put into jail because of greediness. They have money, but they want more money. So that is an anartha. So lust, greed, and also anger. When somebody becomes so much angry, even in anger, he can commit some violence. He can inflict some violence, or he can get entangled into some criminal activity, or he can, because of his violence, there are sometimes people out of anger, they fight and sometimes they injure the person badly or kill the person also. And lifelong, they are put into prison. So this lust, anger, greed, these are all basically because of our uncontrolled mind. But when we are controlling this mind, this lust will change into love, anger will change into patience, and greediness will change into contentment. See, all these negative qualities will change into positive qualities. So that's why Lord is advising here in 6.6, Bandhur Atmana Manastasya Enatmanevana Jitaha Anatmanastu Satrutve Vartet Atmaiva Satruvat. Vartate Atmave Satruvat. So Krishna is saying here, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. If you conquer the mind is a... So basically Bhagavad Gita is focusing on how to make your mind as your best friend. The whole Bhagavad Gita is to make your mind as friend. We should understand that. We know that we are soul. Now the soul has to be elevated. How to elevate the soul is basically you want to make your mind as your friend. That's why Krishna is saying, for one who has conquered his mind, the mind becomes his best friend. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain as a not normal enemy, as a greatest enemy. So it is very important to what Lord is saying, that somehow or other we should control our mind. So spiritual practices will help us to control our mind. Now we may ask, we are talking so much about the mind. Where is this mind? Where is his mind actually? If I cut my body, I am able to see my heart, lungs, liver, kidney, bone, everything, but I am not able to see my mind. But this mind is only making so much in my life. It is a running software. If I break my computer, I cannot see the software by my eyes. But this whole computer or mobile is running based on the software. If there is no software, the instrument will not work. But at the same time, if you break the instrument, you cannot see the software. Same way, our body is functioning because of our software mind. But this mind, we cannot see by our eyes. It is called subtle. Subtle means it is there, but it is not perceived by our physical eyes. So Krishna says in 7th chapter also, mind, intelligence, and false ego are called my subtle energies. Krishna's subtle energy means it is very sukshama, means you cannot see by your eye. But whereas the body is sukshama, earth, water, fire, air, ether, it is actually gross energy, means physical by the eye. So where is my mind? The quality of life depends on the quality of our thoughts. If our thoughts are very elevated, our life will be very high quality. Your thoughts form the world around you. As much as we think, our world is shaped according to that. Now you can understand, very important point, the world is same. But according to our thoughts, we see the world in a different way. Means according to our software, the world is seen differently. Example, if there is a rose, okay, there is a person who is so very romantic person. So when he sees the rose, he will see, oh, let me buy this rose or take this rose and give it to my lover, so that, I will have a very good evening together with her. So that is the thing he is seeing when he is seeing the rose. So imagine the same rose a devotee is seeing, a bhakta is seeing. He will say, oh, this rose is also beautiful. If I take this rose and offer to the lotus feet of the Lord, the Lord will become very happy and I will become very happy. So let me buy this rose and go to the temple and give it to the Lord. Offer it to the Lord. That is what the devotee is thinking. His thought is different. Imagine one scientist, botanical scientist, he is seeing this rose. Immediately he sees, oh, this rose belongs to this family of roses. The botanical name of this rose is this one. This life of this rose is this much. The fragrance is because of this chemical. All these things will come in. So basically, they all see the same rose, but according to our orientation, according to our this thing, we form certain thoughts, and that thoughts change the way we look at this world. So this is how the mind functions. Basically, we should always remember it is like a software for us by which we can perceive this mind. So whatever thoughts we have, they say change your thoughts and you can change your world. Very important. If you change your thoughts, if you make your thoughts material, or the world will become material world. If you change our thoughts, the field of thoughts, spiritual, everything changes. Then according to the thoughts, our belief system is there. So basically, some people believe in God, some people don't believe in God. If some people don't believe in God, then their activity will change, their lifestyle. They never go to the temple, they never participate in any ritual or festivals. No, because their belief system is different. But somebody is actually spiritual person, he's changing. He knows that God is always watching me. I should be very much devoted to God. So his lifestyle will change. So these thoughts will lead to certain kind of belief system, and that belief system will change our lifestyle. When the lifestyle changes, accordingly, again, our thoughts will come based on our lifestyle. If our lifestyle is very much materialistic, I'm behind fashion, I'm behind pop music, then our thoughts will come that when is the next album releasing? Where is the next fashion show is happening? So our thoughts will change. And imagine if our lifestyle is very spiritual, then as soon as we get up in the morning, we pray to God. Okay, God, my dear Lord, you have given me this day. I am very much thankful for you. You saved me. You protected me. Let me also always remember you today. So basically our lifestyle will give certain kind of thoughts. That thoughts will form as a belief system. Based on the belief system, we'll have a lifestyle. It's like a cycle. So we can see here, this is a very famous statement, quote actually. They say that watch your thoughts. The thoughts is the foundation, for they become your words. Whatever we think, that will manifest as our words from our mouth. Watch your words, because they become gradually the words, they become your actions. And watch your actions, for they become whatever actions we repeatedly do, that will become our habits. And watch your habits, because for they become your character. Very important. Whatever habits we repeatedly do, that becomes a part of our personality. That becomes our character. And they say, watch your character, or they become your destiny. So our destiny depends on the type of character we have. So basically, when you have a very, very good character, we are elevated. And when we have a bad character, we are put down in the next life. So the starting point is the thought, and the ending point is the destiny. So we should be very careful at the foundation itself, at the source. The thoughts arise from the mind, and the more we are giving spiritual inputs, accordingly our thoughts will change. The more we are reading so much mundane TV, mundane literature, what happens? Normally material thoughts will come more. So how does a thought form? Based on our input, what we see through our eye, what we hear through our ears, whatever through these indriyas, whatever we give more feed, that will influence our thoughts. Suppose if I am keep on watching from morning, so much mundane things, mundane association, and all these things, then my thoughts and words, then I will discuss about politics, who is better, and then I argue with my friends, like that. So basically, whatever we are seeing, whatever we are hearing has a great influence on our thoughts. That's why we have to associate with spiritual things, like hearing Bhagavad Gita, hearing good lectures, morning, praying to the Lord. All those things will actually have a very, very positive lifestyle for us. So the conclusion is, change your thoughts, you can change your world. If you want to, as I said, the playboy or the romantic person or the scientist or a devotee, when you change our thoughts, then our world will change. So even though the world is same, everybody is seeing this world different way. Example, somebody is putting a red glass, you will see everything is red. Somebody is putting a green glass, you will see everything is green color. So like that, our thoughts, our guna form the perception. So when we have proper thoughts, when you change our thoughts, we can change our world. So the role of mind as a friend or enemy. So Krishna is saying here, uncontrolled mind is an enemy. It is an enemy within our own head. You can see here, follows dictation of lust, anger, and illusion. So we have so many practical examples in our day-to-day life. We are seeing so many people, their life is affected because of these anarthas called lust, anger, and greed or illusion or whatever anarthas. We have basically 6 anarthas: kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, matsarya. Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion. So this will lead to attached to sense gratification. We want to enjoy more without any end. What happens? We enjoy more. As much as we enjoy, we get more and more entanglement. Remember, enjoyment is equal to entanglement. When you have entanglement, means you will actually get repeated, you will get into the repeated cycle of birth and death. So you will get degraded and entanglement. So sense enjoyment is leading to entanglement. It will become, our mind will become enemy. On the other way, controlled mind will become our friend. So how does a controlled mind become our friend? When the mind is controlled, you can hear the voice, the Paramatma voice within yourself. Paramatma is there with our soul. The Supreme Lord representative is Paramatma. So God is present in 3 places. One is actually Brahman, is pervading everywhere. As in throughout the entire cosmic manifestation, is pervading as a Brahman or energy form. And second is, he is sitting inside every living entity as a Paramatma, as a super soul, to guide that living entity in this journey of life. So, and third is Bhagavan, means he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is in the spiritual world. So, the same God is in the 3 features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So, Paramatma is sitting within us as a conscience. That's why when you do something bad, the Paramatma voice, we can hear that this is wrong. Somebody will steal. The voice says, even for a child, if he's stealing, the voice says, no, this is wrong. You should not do. So, when our mind becomes our friend, we can hear the Paramatma voice, follow the dictation of the super soul, and we are not entangled into the sense gratification. Gradually, we get elevated to spiritual platform, and it becomes the same mind becomes our friend. So second thing of EC is A is stands for Astanga-yoga. which is the topic of this chapter. Astanga-yoga is discussed from verses 10 to 36. Okay. One way to control the mind is the process of Ashtanga, because already Krishna told to control the mind. Now Krishna is telling how we can control this mind through the process of Astanga-yoga, which includes Dhyana yoga or practice of meditation. We know there are many meditation societies like Art of Living is there, Kriya Yoga is there. So many process, so many spiritual organizations are there which are offering, teaching us how to do meditation, Dhyana yoga. So Krishna explains the ancient path as it is practiced by the earlier ages. People are doing Dhyana, meditation. How they will do? They will go to a secluded place, and very important, they should practice celibacy. Celibacy means there is no sex life for them. So living in seclusion, practicing celibacy, under strict regulations of eating and sleeping, the yogi would sit in a perfectly erect posture. You can see the image, how they are sitting now. The spinal cord will be straight, erect posture. Focusing his consciousness on the Supreme Soul within. He will concentrate on the Paramatma within. You can see the image. Despite mental and body distraction, the yogi would meditate in this way for many, many years. Not 1 day, 2 days, many, many years. It's called Samadhi. Maintain stillness and complete silence. Hearing about this strict discipline, what happened? Arjuna admits his amazement. Arjuna, after hearing all this explanation from Krishna, is saying, oh, this practice seems impractical and unendurable. So for Arjuna, who is very famous archer, known for his concentration, where he won the hand of Draupadi by seeing the reflection of water of the fish. From seeing the water, the reflection of the fish, he shot the arrow exactly to the fish eye. So that much powerful warrior, so much of concentration, so much of, powerful archer, he is saying this practice seems very impractical. That means imagine about our condition, how much concentration we have. He exclaims the discipline of the mind is more difficult than controlling the wind. So Arjuna is expressing a feedback to Krishna in the same chapter that I can even control the wind, but this controlling mind is more difficult than controlling the wind. So Krishna tells, yes, correct. What you are saying is correct. Reassert that disciplining the mind is essential and it is possible only through practice and detachment. When Arjuna is saying that it is very difficult to control the mind, Krishna himself says, yes, I agree to your point. Controlling mind is not easy, but it is possible. It is difficult, but possible. This is the thing we should underline. It is difficult. Krishna did not say impossible. Krishna said it is difficult. Asamshayam mahabaho. Yes, without doubt. Manodrunigraham. It is very difficult. But Krishna says, third line, it is possible. How it is possible? If you practice. Practice makes perfection. So if you practice and if you have detachment, two things are the key to control this mind. It is possible by practice and detachment. So this is the overview of Astanga-yoga. You can see here. Overview of Astanga-yoga, which is described by Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Patanjali has described this Astanga-yoga, developed this Astanga-yoga, whereby you can realize the soul and super soul within yourself by practicing this yoga practice. So basically, you can see here, it is part of two processes are there, hatha-yoga and samyamya. Hatha-yoga means there is, how many steps here? There is 5 steps are there in hatha-yoga, which is yama, second is niyama, and asana, sit in proper posture, pranayama, breathing exercise, and pratyahara and pratyahara. Then the samyamya means dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So you can see this Ashtanga yoga. Yama means there are 5 restraints, means don'ts. If you follow the Ashtanga yoga, first is don't is first important. Yama, you have to follow the yama. Yama means you should avoid these 5 things, 5 restraints. Don't is first. Ahimsa you should follow, non-hurting. That means basically should be like very kind of ahimsa lifestyle you should follow. You should be satya, you should not lie. Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means celibate life. Aparigraha, non-possessiveness. These are the 5 restraints we should have. Control. Then we should follow 5 observances. Niyama. Niyama means rules. Niyam means rules. You should follow purity. You should take bath 2 times a day. Contentment you should have. And you have tapas, austerity. And you should swadhyaya, study of scriptures. And Ishvara, pranidhana, surrender. Okay, so these are some of the preliminary foundation for Hatha Yoga. Then you will follow the asana, postures, bodily postures. As you saw in the image also. We will do various yogic exercises. So that your body becomes very flexible. Because if your body is not flexible, you cannot sit in this posture for a long time. Your body will pain. So first is you make your body very strong and flexible. That is through asanas. There are a lot of asanas, sarvangasana, like that. So asanas practice is important. After once your body is flexible, your mind also is very much regulated by this yama and niyama. Then you do pranayama to more still your mind, control the vital force, prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana. Pranayama is a very powerful practice for bhakti also, for any yoga. If you regulate your breathing, you will not get anger also. That's why somebody will get angry, you can see he will breathe very fast. So breathing and the mind is very closely related. The more you can practice proper breathing exercises, the more it will help for you in bhakti also. Pranayama, very, very important. Everybody can practice pranayama. You'll have very good health also and very good concentration of mind also. And pratyahara means withdrawal of the senses, and dharana means concentration. When then intense concentration will lead to dhyana or samadhi, and samadhi is actually spiritual absorption. We know that if you go in Tamil Nadu, there is a saint actually, Ramana Maharishi. There are saints who go to samadhi for 40 days, 50 days. They are actually, they will be standstill. Their bodily movement will not be there, but they are in the super conscious state, which is called as samadhi. That is the ultimate stage of astanga-yoga. Means samadhi means spiritual absorption, but very, very difficult to follow for normal, common people like us. It's only for people who are, very dedicated, devoted, isolated from the society. They can, and for them also it is difficult actually. So mission impossible. Arjuna is saying, "Oh Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady." So we know that if you hear all these things, we also have the same conclusion that how can in this world, current world, I can follow all these yama, niyama, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. It's not so easy to follow. So Krishna is giving the answer to Arjuna now, 6.34. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. No, this is actually told by Arjuna. Arjuna is saying, mission impossible. Arjuna, after Krishna is explaining all this Ashtanga-yoga, Arjuna is giving this verse. Say, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramari balava dridam tasyaham nigraham manne vayu reva dushkaram. That means Arjuna is saying, the mind is restless. Restless like the monkey, as I said. Turbulent. Turbulent means, if you put in a washing machine, it is spinning, turbulence. Like that, the mind is turbulent. Obstinate means it will not change. Like your children, we give something to tell, follow this. They tell they're obstinate. They tell, no, I will not do this. You study, no, I will not study. No, do this, they will not do. That's called obstinate means they want to do what they like to do. That's called obstinate. The mind is like that. And it is very, very strong also. These 4 characteristics of the mind is given by Arjuna here. Restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Oh Krishna, Arjuna is saying, and to subdue it, I think it is more difficult than controlling the mind. Even controlling the mind, wind, more controlling the wind. So Arjuna is saying that even I can control the wind. Wind itself you cannot control. But Arjuna is saying, even it is more difficult than controlling the wind. See, that is the realization Arjuna got on the mind when Astanga-yoga was expressed. So nature of the mind is actually flickering. What is flickering? You can see a tube light. When you switch on, it will flicker for some time. Like that, it will flicker our mind. So raises doubts due to attachments. Sometimes you may think, oh, this Bhagavad Gita is true. Should I follow this? Someday you will be inspired to follow the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Someday say, oh, should I put my time in this? I have more important things to do. Is it really worth? Should I follow? Is it all true? Or it is some kind of imagination? So raises doubts due to attachments. And rationalizes attachments, means whatever attachment you have to our material things, our mind will tell, yes, these attachments are very, very important in my life. Without these attachments, it is not dharma. So it will give some justification for whatever attachments we have. So nature of mind is obstinate and strong, clings on to the attachment and cannot get thoughts out. So that same thoughts will keep on coming because it's very strong. And the nature of the mind, third characteristic is turbulent. Breaks down all walls and does not ask permission. So basically the mind is very, very turbulent. So turbulent means it's not ready to follow any kind of restrictions to do some vikarma also. Now, 6.35, Krishna is giving the solution. How to control the mind. This is very, very important. It is possible. Krishna is saying it is difficult, but it is possible. So practice makes possible. There is a saying in English called practice leads to perfection, and experience is the mother of perfection. So when you repeatedly practice, one day the mind will come under our control. Like, sometimes the people, if you see a juggler, the juggler, you see, we cannot throw two objects at the same time and catch. Maybe three, not possible. But the juggler is able to do 10 objects he will throw in the air, but he will concentrate and catch. That 9 will be in the air, 1 will be in the hand. Next time 9 will go. We may wonder how he has done.
Without
It is not possible for me.
Number one from station super hit setup from
So, how do we understand if the juggler can do, how did he do that when it is not possible for us? Because he has practiced it for a period of time, he is able to concentrate on which object is actually coming, resting in the hand and which is flying. Similarly, as a juggler has practiced and mastered that art, we can also practice and get mastery over mind. It is possible. So Krishna is saying here, the answer to Arjuna's query, Asamshay Mahabaho, Mano Durnigraham Chalam, Abhyasa Ena tu Kaunteya, Vairagyena Chagrihate. Lord Krishna said, "Oh mighty armed son of Kunti, Arjuna, yes, it is undoubtedly very difficult." Krishna is not telling difficult. Krishna is telling very difficult. That means God also accepts that controlling mind is not easy, very difficult. To curb the restless mind, it is difficult to curb the restless mind. But it is possible. How it is possible? By suitable practice and by detachment. Two things. Detachment means from material things we should stay a little far away. Not too much. Like detachment and practice at the same time. Like somebody wants to control sugar, he should be detached from sweets and he should take everyday medicine. Then it is possible that he can be cured from his sugar. So detachment means basically moving from the sweet objects like that. We should move from a lot of these material attachments which we are having basically naturally. And some practices, spiritual practice we do, then the mind will come under control. So formula to mind control is controlling the mind. Krishna is saying 6.35. Krishna is giving the solution. Practice. Do the following 9 processes of bhakti, especially hearing. Like what we are hearing is Bhagavad Gita. Definitely it will have an impact over this mind. Whatever we are hearing, it will have an impact. Hearing about God will actually help us to pacify the mind. And detachment means vairagya. In Sanskrit, it's called vairagya. Practice means abhyasa. Abhyasa yoga. Okay, and detachment means vairagya. So don't means detaching the mind from activities not devoted to God. So that is very, very important. Both has to be practiced simultaneously. Like a sugar patient is taking medicine, that's abhyasa, and also is detaching from sweet objects, vairagya, then he can be cured. Similarly, if you want to cure our lust, which is in our heart, lust is like a sugar complaint, lust, kama, then you should follow the medicine and diet. So that you will see what is the medicine. Medicine is chanting the holy names of the Lord. The diet is these 4 regulative principles, which we are going to see in the following slides. So what are that do's? Here we are seeing do's. So here, these are the 9 do's which is said by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23. What are the do's Prahlad Maharaj is saying? Prahlad Maharaj is the epitome of bhakti. He is saying Sharanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Mantram Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying Navavida Bhakti. First is hearing. If you hear about God regularly, then your devotion to the Lord will increase, hearing. So Maharaj Parishit attained perfection only by hearing. Out of these 9, even if you can take only one step, one process, no need to take all the 9. Only if you take hearing, regularly you hear about God, then also you can attain perfection. And otherwise, Kirtan, chanting the holy names of the Lord, that is, or glorifying the Lord, that is Sukadeva Goswami attained perfection only by chanting or glorifying. And remembering the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj always used to remember the Lord and he attained perfection. And Lakshmi Devi, she was serving the Lord's lotus feet, that is serving the lotus feet. Pada Sevanam. Then Archanam, deity worship. You can see the deity worship. Maharaj Prithu had obtained that. And Akrura, Vandanam. Vandanam means prayers. Akrura, he offered prayers and achieved perfection. And Dasyam, Hanuman became the servant of Lord Ram and he achieved perfection. And Sakyam is friendship, which Arjuna had with Krishna as a friendship. We can also become friend to God also. And Atmanivedanam. Atmanivedanam, Bali Maharaj, he became completely surrendered when Vamanadeva asked, where should I keep my 3rd leg for charity? Bali Maharaj showed his head. You keep your 3rd leg on my head. And that is called completely surrendering everything to the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. So these are the do's. If either possible you can do 2 or 3 or 4 in this, or even at least Minimum at least one, constantly every day, hearing, chanting like that. So that will help us to do means progress in our spiritual life and controlling our mind. So Arjuna pondered now, what happens if one faithfully takes to this yogi? Now we all heard, we have to do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. We know the do's and don'ts. We are trying to practice this path. We have taken up the spiritual path, but mind is obstinate, turbulent, uncontrolled, very strong. On this journey, we can fall down. We can fall down means either we may temporarily fall down or permanently fall down also. It is possible. There are many people who taken spiritual life initially and later, because the mind is not cooperating, they may fall down. So now Arjuna is thinking, I am taking this path. What happens if one faithfully will take this path process after so much inspiration, they attended the class and do some chanting, everything, but later falls away without perfecting spiritual. But he did not achieve that the love of God or the highest stage of perfection. He did not achieve. In between the path of the path, he fell down. What will be the position of such a person? What will happen to him? So Arjuna is having this question and is immediately raising this doubt because his whole Bhagavad Gita is about question and answers only. Arjuna will ask and Krishna will answer. So our dharma is like that. We don't force anybody to believe anything. No. Here also Arjuna, Krishna is not forcing. Arjuna is asking question and Krishna is answering. And the beauty of this Bhagavad Gita is, after explaining the entire Bhagavad Gita, we should all remember, Krishna is telling, he is not telling you should follow this. He is telling, yata chesi tata kuru. Krishna is saying, I have explained to you everything now. You deliberate on this. Whatever I told, you think about this. And what you think is good, now out of my teachings, what you want to do, you can do. It is your freedom. Yata chesi tata kuru means, whatever you wish to do, you do. This is the beauty of God. He never interferes with our freedom. He never forces that you should only follow, otherwise I will put you in hell. No, he will not tell like that. He gives us the freedom, but he's saying these are the ways you should live. If you live like this, your mind will be pure, your life will be peaceful, you can experience happiness, and at the end of the life, you can come to me. But he does not say that if you don't follow, I will do like. So, yata chesi tata kuru. That is very important. So this whole Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue of question and answers from the Supreme Lord, the divinity, the discussion between divinity and humanity. Okay. So now Arjuna is again asking a question. If I take up this process and I don't achieve perfection and if I fall down, I am losing my material life and also I am losing my spiritual life. So this is third step called success or failure, 37 to 45. The third acronym, easy. Then we have one more to go. Success and failure, verse number 37 to 45. Hearing about the difficult astanga-yoga process raises new concern for Arjuna. What happens if one faithfully takes this yogic process but later falls away without perfecting his spiritual consciousness? The unsuccessful spiritualist is seemingly left in no man's land because he left the material life, he came to spiritual life. Here also he failed, there also he failed. Having failed to attain spiritual perfection and simultaneously squandered his opportunities for worldly pleasure. He lost the worldly pleasure also. Because he taken spiritual life, he left the worldly pleasure. Krishna now gives a reply, appeases all such fears by explaining that whoever takes up a genuine spiritual process is eternally benefited, even if they don't perfect it. This is the beauty of our dharma, not our dharma. I don't think it is only for Hindus. Anyone who is taking spiritual life, it will not go waste. Even if it is not perfect, Krishna preserves whatever we did and he will give back what we did. Means from where we left, we will continue from our next life. If we don't complete it in one lifetime, we carry on to the next life from the same point, and the individual thus evolves towards spiritual perfection. If I did 40% in this life, and then I failed, or I stopped after that, in the next life, I will continue from 40, not from 0, because you already come up to 40%. So this is how somebody is 80%, somebody is 90%. That's why you can see sometimes even some children, they exhibit great spiritual inclination. Why? Because they already completed 70 or 80% of their previous life. When other children go to cinema or disco, these children are not interested in those. They want to go to temple. We see that people, no? So how did they get the interest? That interest is not coming from this life, but it is coming from the previous life. So Bhagavad Gita 6.3738, Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful yogi who is in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization, want to realize Atma with faith, but who later desist due to worldly mindedness? But the world is also pulling us, temptations. And that does not attain perfection. Does he fall away from both spiritual and material success? So your material life also gone, spiritual life also gone. Then Krishna is answering, eternal benefit. What is the eternal benefit? Destination of an unsuccessful yogi. 640 to 45 verses. From 40 to 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 48. 6 verses, Krishna is answering. So if somebody will fall down after a short practice, what happens? He is falling only for 1 or 2 years and fell down. So he will go to the higher planets and he will enjoy higher pleasures, enjoys on higher planets, and then takes birth in an aristocratic family, means in a wealthy family. Why? If somebody takes birth in a wealthy family, he will not struggle for his food and shelter. So basically, if you struggle for food and shelter, then you cannot take spiritual life, because basic necessities are very important. So somebody having a good life, then he can easily resume his spiritual life without fighting for his survival for food and shelter. But if somebody will, after long practice, take birth in a family of devotees, if after long practice they fell down, what happens? So that soul will take birth in a devotee family. Devotee family means who are already, parents are very spiritual. So when the child is born in the family, from childhood, the parents will train in spiritual life. They will teach the mantras, they will teach the rituals, they will teach the scriptures to the children. So the child becomes very, very, exalted by the training of their parents itself, and he will resume from various. So after short practice, they go to the higher planets, and then they are born into aristocratic family if they fail. After long practice, if they fail, Krishna will give the opportunity to take birth in a family of devotees where they can resume their spiritual practices from where they have left. So whatever we do now, it will be carried forward to the next life. And Prabhupada says that whoever is taking this Krishna conscious process, chanting of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Somebody is regularly practicing it sincerely. They are, even if they don't succeed, they are guaranteed to take human form of life. Next birth will be human form of life, because Krishna knows that you are trying and you did not achieve, so he will give you one more chance. So perfect. But if you are doing vikarma, sinful activities, we may be depromoted to animal form of life also. So the last section we are coming, last few slides. Yogi, what 46 to 47. Krishna is talking about so many yogas. Krishna talked about karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, jnana yoga. So many, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. This is chapter 5 and chapter 6 now. So who is he? Krishna is concluding. After summarizing the arduous process of dhyana, meditation, and astanga-yoga, the chapter concludes with a ray of hope. Krishna reaffirms that perfection and goal of all yoga system is to help individual become fully conscious of God at all times. While all yoga systems are certainly beneficial, all the yoga systems are good. We are not condemning any yoga system, but the easiest and most efficient and essential path is known as bhakti-yoga. So bhakti-yoga is easy, more efficient, and is the most essential path. The yoga of devotion or yoga of love. In this age, the primary practice of bhakti-yoga is mantra meditation. You are doing meditation using the mantra, chanting the names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So chanting through this process, any person from any background, we do not say only the Brahmanas can practice. We do not say that this class of people cannot practice, or these people from this country, they cannot practice. No. People from any background, without any spiritual qualification, without any good culture also, can attain spiritual perfection experience and all benefits described in this chapter and elsewhere. Very important. So everybody is welcome to achieve to go back to Godhead, go back to God by practicing this. It is equal opportunity given whether male or female or higher caste, lower caste, from this country, that country, or this religion, that religion. It's not only for Christian or it's for everyone. So it's very, very important. So who is a yogi? Life and activities are aimed at establishing one relationship with God. He's called yogi. His life and activities are aimed at establishing his relationship with God. Now, how you are establishing this relationship with God, there are different ways of establishing. So karma yoga means you are establishing your relationship to God through your senses. And if you are establishing your relationship to God through your mind, it is called as jnana yoga, because jnana yoga means you read scriptures. Basically, your mind is more active. Your mind and mind is more active. Karma yoga means your indriyas, right? Karma indriyas, so senses. And dhyana yoga means basically you are using your intelligence to establish your relationship with God. But in the bhakti yoga, your soul is establishing directly relationship with the super soul, with Bhagavan. That is called bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is considered as topmost by Krishna in the conclusion of this chapter. Why? So there is an analogy. Who can tell us which is the best yoga? Now there is a saying, like, who can say which version of the Microsoft Windows is best? Which version is Windows is best? Of course, the person who has developed this software, the Microsoft, Bill Gates, he can say that, okay, this is the best Windows copy we have, the latest one, whatever. So like that, Krishna, God, the Supreme Lord, he is the creator, maintainer, and destructor. So he knows which is the best process to connect him. He's saying this last verse of Bhagavad Gita, 6.47, very important verse. Yoginam api sarvesham, of all the yogis, of sarvesham means all. Yogis, Dhyana yogi, Jnana yogi, astanga-yogi, karma yogi, all. Yoginam api sarvesham, madgate antaratmana, who is always thinking about me inside his heart. Madgate antaratmana. Shraddhavan bhajate, is with full faith, he is worshipping me. Yo mom, who is worshipping me? Yo mom means, Krishna is saying, mom means me. Samaya yukto tamo mataha. That means he is very much united with me always. Of all yogis, one with great faith and who is always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, madgate antaratmana, renders transcendental loving service to me, Shraddhavan bhajate yoma. He is most intimately united with me in yoga and the highest of all. Same yukto tamo mataha. This is my opinion. So the creator himself says, out of all yoga, all the yogas are there for establishing the relationship with me. Undoubtedly, they are all very glorious. But if you ask me which is the best yoga of all, I will personally tell who is always thinking about me and doing devotion to me. That yogi is called the topmost yogi. Yoginam api sarvesham madgati antaratmana shraddhavan bhajite yomam same yukto tamo mataha. So what is bhakti-yoga? Connection of soul to God. Whereas karma-yoga means senses is connected. Jnana-yoga means mind is connected. Dhyana-yoga, intelligence is connected. But bhakti-yoga means soul is directly connected to God. That is bhakti-yoga. So definition of bhakti-yoga, that yoga which establishes our soul's love for service of Krishna is called as bhakti-yoga, where children can do, they can offer some flowers, you can offer some deepa, you can offer some incense, you can offer some bhoga, you can decorate the Lord. So many varieties of ways you can have the relationship with your God from through love and devotion. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mandaram, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Sir, Navavidha Bhakti, 9 types of devotional service. Can I practice Bhakti Yoga in my family life? Yes, we can do. Because Arjuna was not a sannyasi. When Krishna told this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, because Arjuna had his wife, family, children, so that means it is equally applicable for all the householders. And we can ask, how can I get the time to practice this Bhakti Yoga, which Krishna is recommending? Always we have work time. Work time we need not disturb, but we have some time called idle time, no worry time or waste time. In that time, where it is still idle mind is devil's workshop. The time where we are wasting time and we are sometimes worrying unnecessarily, that time can be used for our spiritual practices every day. So is spirituality a retirement program? No. So it is not a retirement program. It should start as early as very early. The scripture says spiritual life should start at the age of 5. At the age of 5, we should start our spiritual life. Because life is a preparation and what is that famous verse? Death is the exam. One day we have to leave this world. So we should know this world, whatever we have, all are temporary. Harsh reality of this world. So while we are living in this world, having relationship with everybody, we know everybody will leave us or we will leave everybody before them. So I have a permanent relationship with God. So I should parallelly cultivate a good and healthy relationship with God by practicing Bhakti Yoga every day. So Shapta Praman, we are hearing from bona fide authority. Krishna says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishya vidu. So we are hearing this knowledge from Krishna himself through the parampara. So to avoid if you want to improve in the Bhakti Yoga, as I said, diet, you have to follow the 4 don'ts. We should not follow. We should avoid the 4. So we should not eat like killing the animals for our pleasure of our tongue. So by that quality, the mercy is lost. So we should avoid that. We should take sattvic ahar, especially offered to the Lord. And also, we should not do gambling. That's also called as adharma because the truthfulness is lost because of gambling. We want to quick money without working hard by doing shortcut. So truthfulness is lost and avoid negative things. Intoxication is today's world. Intoxication is very, very, liked by everybody from the youth to elders. but it is not. It is adharmic. It is not help us in our spiritual life. Somebody want to develop spiritual life, they should avoid intoxication because the austerity is lost in intoxication. And illicit sex outside marriage partners, whether wife or husband, outside the marriage, if they are having extramarital affairs, then the cleanliness is lost. So the dharma stands on 4 pillars: truth, mercy, cleanliness, and austerity. These 4 pillars, the dharma is standing. So when we are trying to engage in this, the pillar of dharma is broken and we try to do adharmic activities, it will destroy our life. So these 4 things, you see, the 4 pillars of religion are dharma. When you do meat eating, mercy is lost. When you do gambling, truthfulness is lost. When you do intoxication, austerity is lost. When you do illicit sex, cleanliness is lost. So if you want dharma to be followed, then we should follow all these things. Now, those are the diet. Also, we want to change our lust into love of God. Basically, the kama, we have to change it to prema. It's an internal chemical reaction. Kama to be changed as prema. So for that, this one, diet is already applied and we are applying positive treatment, that is medicine. We have to take up this association of devotees, book reading, chanting, and diet. Very important. Always we should have saintly people association who are devoted to God. Very, very important. Without that, our spiritual life will not have any much progress. We may hear, but that hearing will not have much effect if we are not doing any association. As much as we associate, then we can progress very quickly. The devotee association, but immediately if you have too much materialistic association, that will also affect our spiritual progress. We may hear and we may know it is good, but we cannot implement in our life. There is no association. It is like you go to the doctor, you take medicine, but you will keep it in the cupboard and it will not help you in cure. So medicine should be taken for cure. So we have to take the association of people who are serious in spiritual life regularly. And book reading, like what we are reading, this Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we should read every day, 1 verse a day, so that it will strengthen our intelligence and so that we can resist the temptation of this material world. Chanting, we already discussed chanting of the Lord. It's open to all. No religion, no caste, no nothing, no bar. Everybody, any religion, any caste, any age, they can practice. Even a child can say the names of God. And it is also there. This is the holy month of Ramadan also. So even Muslims, we see they are chanting the 99 names of Allah. And the Christians also chanting the names of God. So we are also supposed to regularly chant every day, morning and evening, the holy names of the Lord. Okay, so that is chanting is very, very important. And we have this last chanting. The scripture says, Iti Sodasaknam Kali Kalmasha Nasanam Nataparatorapaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. So Lord Brahma is saying, after searching through Narada Muni's son, after searching through the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than chanting this Hare Krishna. It is from Kali Santrana Upanishad. Kali Yuga, how to cross over this Upanishad itself is Kali Santrana Upanishad. Iti Soda Sakam Kali Kalmashanasanam Ataparatorapaya Sarva. There is no other better process than chanting the holy. And diet is prepare nice sattvic food, offer it to the Lord. As whatever you desire to eat, you can always take it, but offer it to the Lord before the honoring. Krishna says in 3rd chapter, those who offer the food for sacrifice, they are released from all kinds of sinful reactions. Yajna Sishtishna Santo Muchante Sarva Tribishai. So Mujjate to Agam Papa Ye Pachanti Atma Karana. So Krishna is saying in the 3rd chapter that whoever offers this food as a sacrifice, those people are relieved from all kinds of sinful reactions. So the preparation time is same, eating time is same. Extra 5 minutes we have to spend that offering, you have to offer it to the Lord with love, then it becomes prasad. So extra 5 minutes you have to put in your lifestyle. Whatever you prepare should be offered to the Lord. So these are the positive treatment which is there. So as I said, for an example of sugar or cholesterol, we are having do's and don'ts. So here also for bhakti, we have do's and don'ts. Do is just apply positive treatment, association, books, chanting, and diet. And E also there, engagement. Engagement in some kind of seva for the Lord. Engagement, E for engagement. Then avoid these 4 things: meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. So today, if you open any newspaper, any news article, you can see all the news are because breaking these 4 regulatives. Any news, you just go randomly. People are bribing, people are gambling, people are drinking, people are, all these restaurants are promoting this non-vegetarian, and people are, in illicit sex affair. All those major news are because of breaking. So in this way, we can be protected, our generation can be protected, our children can be protected from all the bad habits, evil association, and the spiritual life can uplift us and as well as our children's also. So I will see a small video, 2 minutes. It will help us like how to focus our mind. So let us see now.
The nature of the mind is like a monkey. It jumps from branch to branch. And sometimes it goes to one branch and then it jumps to the next branch and then it jumps to the other branch and then the branch it used to be on. But if you give the monkey a nice ripe banana, then the monkey will be happy. Giving the mind a more deep and fulfilling spiritual experience by keeping it focused. We may not get that higher taste immediately, but we know it's there. Just like if the monkey has a banana, it'll stop jumping from branch to branch, but still it has to go through the sadhana of peeling the banana. It doesn't get the taste of it immediately. So sadhana is like peeling the banana, but we know it's there. And just knowing it's there and keeping our mind focused on the process, then our mind is steady.
So that's a wonderful video. So this is summary of chapter 6, which I will share in the WhatsApp group. You can go through, and if you have any doubts, you can ask this. Chapter 6, whatever discussed. And this was a summary. So this acronym we discussed, how the importance of controlling the mind. When mind is controlled, it becomes our friend, and the uncontrolled mind becomes our enemy. And Astanga-yoga, Krishna discussed in elaborate. And then also it's difficult to practice. And then Krishna, Arjuna asked the question whether what happens to a person who is succeeding in this process. And Krishna answered the Arjuna's queries that he will, whatever he did will be preserved and carry forward to the next life. And there is no failure in this path of spiritual life. And who is the different yoga practice he has said now. So far, second chapter, third chapter, fourth chapter, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, yoginam api sarvesham madgate antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma samaya yukto tamo mata. Of all the yoga practice, one who is always constantly thinking about me in his mind and engaging in my worship with love and devotion, he is mostly intimately united with me. That is my opinion. So of all the yoga, bhakti-yoga is the topmost. We understand how we should practice bhakti-yoga, Navavira Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mantanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam. And what are the do's for bhakti? Association, books, chanting, and diet, and E for engagement in some service for the Lord. And also the things which we should not do is actually meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. We want our spiritual life to progress. We should follow the don'ts. Also, we should follow the positive treatment of do's. Then gradually we become spiritually, we can get quicker progress. Okay, so there referred a lot of materials like Gita Life, based for less Swayam Bhagavad Keshav Swami, and Evolved Pune is B.S. Madan Gopal Prabhupada. So I'd like to thank you all for your participation. And next week, we are going to go into chapter 7, or the knowledge of the absolute, which we are starting the phase of bhakti-yoga. From chapter number 7 to 12, it's like a jewel box. There's upper cover, there's a lower cover. Inside the jewel is there. So the topmost cover is karma yoga. The last 6 chapters are jnana yoga. Between the crust jewel, which Krishna is placing, is actually the bhakti-yoga. The middle section is more valuable. So we will start the process of 7 to 12 is explaining about the process of bhakti-yoga itself. They're called knowledge of absolute, or seeing God, how we can see God while we are living in this material world. So that will coming Friday, same 6 p.m. local time, Indian time 8:30 p.m. We'll meet coming Friday to discuss on chapter 7. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So chant and be happy. So now we have completed today's discussion of chapter 6. Hope you had clear understanding what Krishna is speaking to us. So if you have any questions or doubts, Please feel free to share either by voice message, by unmuting your mic, or you can also type in the chat box. Hare Krishna. So thank you, Prakash, Kiran, Prabhu, for giving your feedback. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, I have a doubt. Actually, first 6 chapters are, it's called a Karma Yoga. It's coming under Karma Yoga. But this
Yes.
6th chapter, Dhyana Yoga, it involves only mind and you want to control the mind and body. So how it is linking with the Karma Yoga?
Yes, Mataji. It's a good question, actually. When we say Karma Yoga, Mataji, it's actually, we can say prominently, these are the major. If you see like chapter 3 also Karma Yoga, chapter 5 also Karma Yoga, and the major theme is Karma Yoga. And here also, if you see Astanga-yoga also, mostly your bodily postures also involved actually. Like if you see Mataji, now you see like our the postures, like we have the asanas, where the senses are like more linked to the Lord, like when you do the postures. And also, this is also there that our karma indriyas are there, our jnana indriyas are there. They are also linked to the Lord. So predominantly we can say these are the major topics are karma yoga. So the acharyas explain there are like, the major part is only 3 yogas. Even though there are like sub yogas are there, like we have Dhyana yoga, the majority is only 3 parts: karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and jnana yoga. So these are the 3 main. So they explain that the first 6 chapters predominantly talks about karma yoga. Because if you individually see, then you can give many yogas also. Like if you see, then we can see chapter 4 talks about jnana yoga. Correct, no, Mataji? Jnana yoga only. Mostly we discuss about evam parampara praptam, how this knowledge has come. But mostly this is majority it is covering on karma yoga part only. So 2 entire chapters fully dedicated to karma yoga. And so in that theme, we can see it is karma yoga. But in some, there may be few verses which are highlighting about various other aspects of yoga also. Yes, your question is very good question, but we have to see in this angle that the majority of is discussed on karma yoga.
Okay.
Thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So any other questions? Hare Krishna. So thank you. And we should understand the role of our mind, very, very important. There is a question. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for a wonderful session to enlighten us. When do karma or work without be worried of results? How can we be motivated and excel in our work? So Krishna is giving always this karmaneva adhikare, say mahapaleshu kadashana. So we should know we are not the owner. We are actually a kind of a role player here. When we know that our identity is that we are not only the doer, we know we discussed from chapter 5 also. When we do some activity, it's not only us. Behind this, there is a Paramatma and there is also a material nature. So when we desire something, the Paramatma has to sanction and the material nature has to facilitate. So when we understand all these things, the reality, like a person who is sitting in a bank, we also told like when he's sitting in a bank, he's counting millions of cashes, but he never feels that he's the owner of those cash. He knows this is not belonging to me, this is belonging to the people who have deposited the money. I'm not the owner. That is the reality. Same way, if you know, whatever is in this world, everything is owned by Lord, controlled by God, and it is all orchestrated by God. I am just, as like a bank, a cashier is there, I am playing my role. I am not the owner, I am not the enjoyer, I am not the controller, but I am a cooperator. Cooperator means I go as per God's plan. Whatever God wishes, let him give to me. You know, in that way, if you work, we will not be much attached. And also, second thing is, when we do our activities so that God will be pleased by our activity, then also our attachment to the result will not be there. Example, I will tell you, like Prabhupada went to America, you know, if some of us tell to us that you go and preach to a Western person, we will feel a little bit, fearful, or maybe we'll feel little not confident to preach to them because they are like kind of, they will not listen so easily. But Prabhupada went because he did not care for the result. He thought, let the result be positive or negative. I'm not bothered. I am just doing this work to please God. See, my effort is only to please God. Result may be positive or negative. With that in mind, he went to America. And he attempted sincerely, and he put maximum efforts, but the result became very glorious. Even Prabhupada said that even I did not expect this much result will come, that I can convert 5,000 disciples all around the world from all the Western countries. How did it happen? Because he was thinking that I will just put my effort. The result God will give. Like if you go to a temple, the pujari is giving prasad. We accept that prasad and we take it. So when we do some activity, if our mindset we are practicing that, whatever God will give, I will accept it. Then we will become detached. We will take it as a prasad. And we know that God is our well-wisher. So whatever he is doing, it may be bitter for me at the time being, but it will be ultimately fruitful. Sometimes it may be very good for us instantly. Sometimes it may be bitter also. Like if you go to a doctor also, sometimes doctor is doing an operation. It is not good for us. Nobody wants to go for an operation. But why do we do operation? Because it is for a betterment of our body. Something is there, you have to treat it. So sometimes God will give you instant result. Sometimes God will give delayed result based on our whatever is good for us. So if you have that confidence, God is my well-wisher. Whatever he will do for good for me. Then we will not be so much attached to the result. But if we want to ourselves enjoy, then we'll be attached, disturbed. Same thing you can compare one more example. Like a parent knows always what is good for his children. The child may not understand why the father is doing all these things, but the parent always calculates for his future. They invest money, and no child will go to the father and tell, Father, did you invest money for my future? No, they will not ask. But the parent knows already. So God, being our ultimate supreme father, he knows what is good for us. So these things we should bring it to our mind again and again. Not that only this class. When these thoughts are there in the background, then our work will become karma yoga. We will not be bothered much about result. So in that way, we have to orient our mind constantly. That's why we have all these classes repeatedly. It is good for me when I am explaining also. I also get reminded. When you hear, you also get reminded. So this is not a one-day exercise. It should be a regular exercise. That's why we should read Bhagavad Gita every day. So there are 18 chapters, 700 verses. Not possible to read every day. Means you should read at least one verse a day. That will help you to be detached from your results. In that way, all this part of all training. Krishna says, if you train your mind, it will become controlled by you. So you can possible. It is possible by practice. Hare Krishna. So I hope Sanjit Mataji, right? I think you are able to. Is it clear, or you need some more explanation? You can, if it's okay that you are able to understand the answer, it's okay. Otherwise, you want little more clarification, please feel free to ask this. Hare Krishna. So hope if there are no other questions, thank you all for your feedback in comment box. And I am also learning. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. Shankar Nagmurari, please.
Yes, Prabhu. Thanks, Prabhu. So we have beautiful class. So actually, this one today, this a lot of things discussed. It has a realization with the astanga-yoga and this controlling the mind. This is very important. This words is very nectarian words. As everybody
Yes.
people try to control the mind, they are going for yoga practice. But actual yoga practice after final what they will achieve, so they'll stay over question marks. So the grace of Lord, so we are getting these spiritual associations. They are meditating for this cross from Dhyana yoga, we are coming to the meditation for mantra yoga. So it will purify us and it will bring to us and concentrate one focal point. And gradually elevate it also to give little bit advancement in out of material way. So spiritual connected. So by mantra meditation, we are gradually elevating. So this process is very beautifully explained great classes. And also this also karma yoga sense connected, related, and jnana yoga is mind connected, and dhyana yoga is intelligence connected, and bhakti yoga is the soul connected. This is a beautiful message from the today's classes.
Yes, the root is connected. Thank you, bro. Very nice share. Thank you for sharing your understanding. So this is thank you, Mataji. So very nice process where the soul is connected to the Lord, the root is connected to the Lord, and anybody can do from any background, irrespective of age, irrespective of nationality, irrespective of caste, creed, community. Prabhupada given this formula throughout the world, not for any particular. So it is a universal process where it is very simple, where we can get the blessings of the Lord, we stay protected under His shelter, and achieve peace and happiness. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing that. Hare Krishna. So if there are no other questions, we can wind up the session now. So once again, thank you all for giving your time and attending this session. We are planning 1 hour, but going a little beyond. So it's good that we are having some discussions also. So from 7th chapter, more interesting, the process of bhakti-yoga, where Krishna is giving many insights into how to practice this bhakti-yoga, how to see Him even in this material world, how to see God. That is explained in 7th chapter also. So we'll all assemble again next week, Friday, same time, to hear from chapter 7 with a different acronym. Hare Krishna. And if you have any questions or doubts, the WhatsApp group is open. You can also post your queries. Also, I am sharing some short videos on the every chapter summary. You can watch that for more clarity. So once again, thank you all and have a wonderful week ahead. See you again on coming Friday. And please keep chanting every day so that you always be protected by the Supreme Lord and guided by Him. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpataribhascha kripa sindhubhyo patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I would like to thank all the devotees who are sponsored for this Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, I forgot. So thank you all for your generous contribution. We achieved almost 6,500 Bhagavad Gitas. In 5 days, we collected so many Bhagavad Gitas. I'd like to thank all the devotees in Gita Medisi WhatsApp group for your immediate response and sponsoring the Gita. So thank you all who are contributed this. Hare Krishna.